you worried about the climate crisis? Do you want to make a difference? Climate change is the biggest existential threat of our times, but it can often feel like our individual actions are a drop in the ocean. I'm Dr. Ella Gilbert, a climate scientist and presenter, and in my younger days, a youth climate campaigner. And in this video, I'm going to share some of the ways that you can have a meaningful impact by tapping into Rotary International's existing club structure and unlock real change. Big-scale problems like climate change require big-scale solutions, and Rotary International can help you be part of that solution. Formed in 1905, Rotary has a long history of bringing about positive change and a ready-made global structure of clubs that lends itself to real impact. That's evidenced by its effective campaign to eliminate polio. Since its first vaccination project in 1979, Rotary's campaign to eradicate this paralysing disease has seen cases fall by 99.9%. Now, polio is eradicated in all but a few countries, and the campaign's success is clear from the millions of children who can now live their lives free from polio. Rotary is clearly an organisation that can achieve real success. So, could climate change be Rotary's next grand challenge? Rotaract clubs are a ready-made Rotary club structure for people aged 18 to 30. They're built onto the existing framework within Rotary International, allowing them to tap into Rotary's networks, resources, and expertise. There are no Rotaract clubs that focus on climate action and net zero. Yet. But you can change that. There are more than 9.5 million 12 to 30-year-olds in the UK alone. Just imagine what we could achieve if we got our act together and used the Net Zero website to recruit a network of new clubs, using the Rotaract format to focus on climate change. Because let's face it, it's young people between 12 and 30 who are most invested in climate action, because it will affect us the most. Together, we could start impacting change on the local, national, and global scale. And all you need to start one is to get together with 9 or more others in your local area. With the support from a local Rotary club, you can start taking action right away. To find out more and sign up, scan this QR code and bookmark the website to check out right after you've watched this video. By joining with others and starting a Rotaract or Interact club, you can be part of the solution. And that has never been more important. We have a limited and rapidly closing window of opportunity to change the story of climate change. Our actions today will shape the future for many, many years to come. The longer we wait, the worse the impacts will be. The best time to act on climate change was yesterday, but the next best time is now. And we can be the people to take that action. You and I are already feeling the consequences of previous generations' inaction. It's today's young people and those yet to be born who will bear the brunt of climate impacts we're already committed to, let alone those that will be triggered if we continue as we are. Climate action is for all of us. You might wonder what difference young people can make in the face of a seemingly insurmountable challenge. But young people are already making a huge impact. Look how powerful youth activists like Greta Thunberg, Vanessa Nakate, and Cypriya Kangujam have been. They have spoken at international conferences like the UN Climate Summits, addressed world leaders, and driven forward meaningful change. They are proof that getting involved is the best way to create the future we want and deserve. But we can't leave it up to high-profile activists like these. The climate movement needs all of us, and young changemakers could benefit from a structured international organisation that can push forward global action. That's where Rotary comes in. Rotary International has a global network of clubs, and its website can be used to link up with existing clubs anywhere in the world. Net Zero clubs are special because they specifically focus on the climate crisis. A worldwide network of new Rotary-netzero clubs will mobilise young people, creating a powerful voice that can influence national governments and international climate summits. But let's take a step back for a second and remind ourselves why taking action is so important. The climate crisis is the biggest threat facing us today. Of course, as a climate scientist, I would say that. Each of the stripes in this graphic represent a year since the Industrial Revolution, the baseline that we measure warming against. And they're coloured based on the planet's average temperature. You can see that greenhouse gases emitted by humans have driven temperatures upwards by 1.25 degrees Celsius, turning the colours from cool blues to hot reds. It may not sound like a lot, but that 1.25 degrees is already triggering devastating extreme events, raising sea levels and decimating the natural environments we depend on. As temperatures rise, the impacts of climate heating intensify, but so too do the risks of exceeding critical tipping points. Tipping points are thresholds beyond which change becomes irreversible. For example, the collapse of ice sheets. Once they're lost, the regrowth of these ice sheets is impossible on human timescales. And without action, heating won't stop. If you were born in 2010, you were born at 0.62 degrees above pre-industrial temperatures. If you started school in 2015 or 16, you began your education in the world's hottest year on record, although that record wouldn't stand for long. Because by the time you became a teenager in 2023, temperatures had risen even further and broken records again. By the time you finish university and start your career, we will likely have exceeded 1.5 degrees, the internationally agreed threshold of climate heating that science tells us is safe. By the time you have your own kids, we will be well on our way to 2 degrees or more, a level that will lock us into irreversible changes. Above 2 degrees, the collapse of ice sheets like the West Antarctic and Greenland ice sheets becomes more likely, and so does the shutdown of important climate features like the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation, a critical ocean current that keeps the European climate relatively warm. Vital ecosystems like the Amazon rainforest and coral reefs will collapse, and along with them, the livelihoods of millions of people. By the time you're nearing retirement and looking forward to spending a bit more time with your grandkids, temperatures could be reaching 2.5 degrees. And by your 90th birthday, the mercury could level off at 3 degrees and the world will look very, very different. This may feel scary and overwhelming, and it is, but none of these changes are inevitable. We still have the power in our hands to act. We still have the power in our hands to change the future. Some change is locked in, but our actions today can still change the rate of climate change. Our actions can determine whether a child born in 2010 will see 3 degrees of heating in their lifetime, or if they will see temperatures begin to fall. We must urgently reduce emissions of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane to prevent the situation worsening further and plan ahead to adapt to the changes to come. We live in a unique window of time where our actions today can have impacts for tens, hundreds, even many thousands of years to come. We must take courage to protect ourselves and future generations. Courage means knowing the facts of climate change and taking informed action. And more practically, courage might look like forming a Rotaract or Interact net zero club and acting in a targeted, measured way to maximise your impact. It might mean writing to local councillors or MPs about the climate crisis, posting about climate on social media, setting up events in your community, running a media campaign, a climate cafe, or tapping into existing national campaigns from NGOs or other organisations. Getting together with other net zero Rotary clubs and sharing ideas and resources could help spread your message further and have a greater effect. To register a new club and find more ideas and inspiration for ways to make a difference, you can also visit the Rotary-netzero website via this QR code or the accompanying link. There you can find a step-by-step guide to forming your own net zero club. Your nearest established Rotary club will support you every step of the way until you're up and running. Climate change is already a daunting and scary problem. And I'll level with you, it's going to get worse, especially for young people like us. But we can still make a difference and shift the dial to make things better. To do that, we need to spread the message and inspire others to take action. Every fraction of a degree matters, and every action to reduce emissions makes a difference. But it's urgent, and we need to pull our collective fingers out to do something now. And if the world's governments won't act fast enough, which we have seen time and time again that they aren't, then we have to take matters into our own hands. We have to force them to act and take action ourselves. But what does action look like? As a planet, we need to reduce emissions of greenhouse gases to stop further warming. But at the same time, we need to adapt to the changes that are still in store, protect the most vulnerable people from climate impacts, and plan for the future. Mir is an example of a project that changes the Earth's energy balance. The project installs mirrors that reflect sunlight back to space, which reduces the amount of heat entering the atmosphere. That helps reduce temperatures worldwide, slowing the rate of global warming. It can also have a local effect by reducing the amount of direct sunlight hitting buildings, making towns and cities cooler and more livable. So now, it's over to you. Join up with 9 or more others in your area and register on the Rotary Interact website to start a Net Zero Interact or Rotaract club today. There you can also find examples of inspiring projects that Rotary clubs are already contributing to and ideas of projects that you can get involved with. Let's be on the right side of history and be part of the solution.